Hello, my name is Lisa and I've recently come back from my first ever trip to Japan, which included one day at Tokyo Disneyland and one day at Tokyo Disney Sea. And oh my goodness, let me tell you, I thought I knew Disney. I thought that I had been to Disney many times, which is true. I've been going to Disney World since I was 3 years old. I've been going to Disneyland Paris many times. I've been to Disneyland California, but this was completely different. I thought I'd done tons of research in advance. Turns out, should have done more. So I learned a lot. And I have so many tips of where I went wrong that I want to tell you so that you can learn from my mistakes and have the best possible time. Keep on watching. I've got my beloved Tokyo Disney jumper on, which, please settle a debate. Is this a Christmas jumper or is it a jumper for all seasons? Because I want to wear it all year round. But apparently it looks like a Christmas jumper, so let me know. Actually, first I'm gonna say the kind of day that I visited on. Everyone said, do not visit on a weekend no matter what you do. I said, okay, great. I've got a Wednesday, I've got a Thursday, I'm gonna visit on those 2 days. Slight issue was it was a bank holiday on that Friday. However, these were still very working days for normal people. Everyone was in their offices and everything like that. So it should have been normal crowd levels. However, I didn't realise until the day there was some sort of limited edition Duffy Christmas merchandise that came out on the day that I went to Tokyo Disney Sea, which, if you're not aware, is a very, very big deal. Who knew? So the park was just absolutely crowded. It was crazy. And then the next day, the Thursday, we went to Tokyo Disneyland and all park tickets had been sold, so it was at capacity as well. Was that to do with the bank holiday? Probably. Definitely the merch had an impact as well, but you just don't know. You just don't know. So I think try and book as much in the week as possible. Hopefully it'll be quieter than when I went, but ultimately if you follow my tips for a really busy day and you happen to go on a quieter day, you're in luck. So arriving at the park, I think you either need to arrive about an hour before park open or get there a little bit after park open and intend to go all the way to park close. We did the early arrival option, getting there between like half an hour to 45 minutes before on both days. It takes you about that amount of time, at least 45 minutes, to get through all the security queues and get into the park. The main benefit of getting there before is that the second that you scan your ticket on your phone on the turnstile, you can book fast passes from that moment. And this is absolutely key. All of the fast passes get sold out. You need to book as soon as possible. So that is the benefit of arriving early. Forget that by the time you get in the park, unless you got there at like 5 AM, all of the rides are going to have queues. So leave your dreams of rope dropping at the door. And that's my recommendation. Otherwise, get there a little bit after park open. You won't have to queue up. You will have bigger queues. You do risk the chance of your preferred ride fast passes selling out, but you have more of a chance to push through to park close when most people leave after the fireworks, like I did, because I was absolutely exhausted, and that's when you'll be able to get on the rides with shorter queues. So just weigh up which one you want to do. When you're queuing up to enter the park, make sure that you connect your ticket with whoever you're visiting with. So for example, when I booked tickets for me and my boyfriend, I booked them at the same time, so they were already linked, but then me and my friend Rachel bought ours separately. But it's so easy to link them together in the app. So while you're just in those security lines, just do your admin on your phone, get yourself connected, and it's so easy to book everything together. One of you will have to pay on their individual credit card, obviously, for each of the rides that you do a Premier Access Pass for, but in terms of making sure you've got all the same slots together, it's so easy. So talking of Premier Passes, you need to Premier Pass everything. The good thing is that ticket entry into Tokyo Disneyland is a lot cheaper than other Disney parks around the world. For us, it was about £55, so I think that's maybe like $80, $60, $70, so cheap. So I just had the mentality of, we've saved money on the park ticket, kind of, so we will then put that money towards buying the fast passes for things. These were about £10, so maybe $12 per ride. I think some actually went up to about £15, $18 kind of price. But to me, it was so worth it. We only had one day in each park. Obviously, you're in Japan, there is so much to see beyond Disney, so I didn't want to spend too much of my time at the parks. I wanted to balance it out with everything else. My top recommended itinerary for each park when you get in would be for Disney Sea, get in, buy your Premier Access Pass for either Soarin' or Journey to the Centre of the Earth, rope drop or as close as you can to Tower of Terror. And then for Disneyland, I would definitely don't do what we did and rope drop Beauty and the Beast. That was the biggest mistake. Do not do that, okay? We wasted a good half an hour first thing in the morning. It was sad when we realized that the queue was going to be 2 hours, even though we went there first thing. So as soon as you get in, I would say Premier Access Fast Pass for Beauty and the Beast, because that sold out super quickly. And believe it or not, rope drop for Pooh's Honey Hunt. I had no idea that that ride was so popular, but it is, and we didn't get to go on it because we underestimated it. Kind of thought it would be like a half an hour kind of queue throughout the day. It didn't drop below 90 minutes. 90 minutes. And I love Winnie the Pooh, but am I going to wait an hour for him? At least, like we were thinking of doing like an hour wait right at the end of the night, but we were both dead. And so yeah, get that one in there quick. Definitely Premier Access for Splash Mountain after that. Just check on the app for everything. It says the time that if you booked it at this time, you can then book another one at this time. So just put all those alarms on your phone and keep going through the day. Just constantly book the thing that you want to do that has the earliest availability, so then you can book another one. And we did really well using that. At the moment, they also have the free anniversary pass as well, so you can get free fast passes, which is really nice. So we used one of these on Thunder Mountain and Space Mountain in Disneyland, and in Disney Sea we used it on, what did we use it on? Indiana Jones, yeah. The other thing not to forget as soon as you walk into the park is to go in the lottery for all of the shows. Yes, you do not have to queue up for shows, which is good, but you might not get to see them either because there is a lottery system in place. Thankfully, we got really lucky on both days and I got to see Mickey's Big Band Beat at Disney Sea and Mickey's Journey into, it's Journey into Music or something. I always forget the name of this one. At Disneyland, which I thought was very, very good. Really top tier show. Recommend that one, and it's obviously a great way to just have a little rest for half an hour as much as anything else. The really fun and unique thing is that they give you an assigned seat for the show, which is really great because you don't have to show up half an hour before to try and get a good seat. You literally just rock up. As long as the show hasn't started, you can get in, go to your seat, have a little sit down, watch a little show, enjoy a bit of air conditioning. It's all good. Another one is to check the single rider options. When we visited, the only single rider options were for Raging Spirits and Indiana Jones. We got the fast pass for Indiana Jones, which meant that we could sit together, which was really nice. But then for Raging Spirits, the roller coaster, we sat separately and we waited less than 5 minutes for that on a line that was over an hour at least. Just saves so much time, it's crazy. They're not very well signposted either, so do ask a cast member for information about where the single rider line is and they will always point you in the right direction. It's tricky to find, so good luck and it will be so worth it. Okay, let's talk about food. This was one of the big shockers for me that I did not know beforehand. Treat the food that you want to eat the same way that you would treat the rides you want to go on in these parks. I just kind of assumed it would be like normal theme park food. You get in a queue, you wait 5 or 10 minutes, you get some popcorn. No, think more like half an hour for everything. Every snack that you want to eat, it was at least a half an hour queue. These stretched right down and a lot of them did not look like they were moving. So if there's a certain popcorn you want to try, like the alien mochi I waited about half an hour for. To be honest, anything is at least half an hour. We saw queues for quick service restaurants of 90 minutes. My number one tip for food is do not eat between 11 AM and 1 PM. So important. We thought, oh, we'll eat early at 11 AM get ahead of the crowds. No, everyone else also wants to eat at 11 a.m. I don't know why. Is it a Japan cultural thing? Do they all eat lunch early? Or has everyone been up queuing since like 5 a.m. and is absolutely starving by 11? Probably a bit of both. So absolutely avoid those times. If you want a snack, get it early, like 10 a.m. or after that sort of 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock time. Also, a lot of people have lunch quick service in the parks, but they don't have dinner quick service. So if there's anywhere that you really want to go, like we really wanted to get the Baymax curry, you could do that for dinner instead of lunch, and that worked really well for us. I think we only waited about 15 minutes for that in the end. It was crazy compared to, we had been considering waiting 90 minutes to go in the Splash Mountain restaurant. So yeah, and also just think that you can't physically eat everything in a day anyway, and when you add in all of the queues, it's really tricky to try and get everything done. I was really sad that I missed out on a lot of food that I really wanted to eat, but what can you do? I prioritized the rides because that felt more important to me at the time. In terms of getting around the park, they do not have printed maps available. This really shocked me because the first thing I did when I walked in was walk into a shop and say like, hi, can I have a map please? Their answer was, no, go on there instead. So all day I was just faffing around with that. I think if I'd have known in advance, I would have tried to print off a map just so I could have it in my pocket all day rather than having to go on my phone all the time, zoom in, scroll around, get the right thing up. It was just a bit of a pain when you don't know your way around. Obviously, like for most of the other Disney parks, I don't need the map. I am the map. The other thing is, you will be on your phone a lot. It's sad, but that's how you do most things nowadays in all Disney parks, and Tokyo Disney was the next level. There's just so many things that you need your app for, the maps. It's just, it drains your battery, and also there is no Wi-Fi, which I also found absolutely staggering. You want people to be on their phones all the time to sort out their day, and you don't provide free Wi-Fi. That was crazy. My 4G was good most of the time, but not all the time. So I had a lot of problems with getting to a place, needing to scan my fastpass, but my phone, the app wouldn't load. A lot of problems with the app. But thankfully, most of the time it loaded on my friend or my partner's phone. So they could then scan both of them on theirs, which was unnecessarily stressful. Like as well, you're just in a queue for something, the 4G isn't great, so your app, you just have this loading screen going round and round and round. Just so frustrating when there's a lot at stake, you know. You've got one day to try and do one of the best theme parks in the world. You just want your app to work because you don't have a printed map, you know. It was frustrating, so definitely come knowing that in advance and bring your portable charger for sure, because the app obviously absolutely drains your battery as well. I also used a lot of screenshots for everything to make sure that if the app went down, I couldn't get on, then I knew, okay, 10:40 we've got this, 12:30 is this, so I just didn't have to be going back on the app every time and having the stress of, is it going to load this time or not? Also, one thing I was not prepared for is that some shops may also have a pass that you need to buy to go in the shop. As I mentioned briefly, the day that we were there, some new Duffy merchandise came out, which meant that it was crazy. So to go in any shops that had any Duffy kind of merchandise, you needed a return time. The return slot was only about 15 minutes long. So at one point we were like running across just to look at merchandise. I didn't even end up buying anything. Shops are absolutely packed after 8 p.m. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Shopping at earlier times of the day is actually really quite nice and peaceful and pleasant. My personal top tip would be to buy what you want before sort of 5 p.m. and then put it in a locker. The lockers are really affordable. We did that with, Matt was buying a Duffy bear for his sister. So we saw one, we were like, great, let's grab it, buy it, put it in a locker, and then we don't have to worry about it for the rest of the day, because like, with the amount that everyone was after these bears, we were just like, just buy one, because what if it sells out later in the day? But then we also didn't have to carry it around. In particular, we noticed that the queue for the sweet shop in Disneyland was crazy. I think that Japanese people love to take confectionery home to family and friends as gifts, and they have these beautifully packaged gift boxes, beautifully displayed in the shops with all the things that they contain. But to buy something from there after 8 p.m, oh my goodness, there was a huge queue just to get in the shop, and then the queue to pay was insane. So if you're even thinking about getting a souvenir like that, get it early in the day for sure. When you're planning out what you want to do with where you're staying and going to the parks, I personally didn't stay at a Disney hotel. It probably wasn't worth it to me. It also wasn't worth it to my partner. We wanted to be more central in Tokyo. I'm also very used to commuting on the tube in London, so getting a train or 2 trains like 45 minutes to get to Disney was not a big deal for me. So we stayed in central Tokyo and did it that way. If you are going to Disneyland, you do not need to get the monorail to get there. You just walk straight out of the station, keep following the crowds, and you'll get to the entrance. But if you're going to Disney Sea, you do need the monorail, so head up that way. The monorail is obviously an experience in itself. There are Mickey-shaped windows, Mickey-shaped handles. It's a lovely time. But just, you do not need to buy a separate ticket for that if you have Apple Pay on your phone, or you have a Suica or Passmo card, which you will definitely have one of those for getting around Tokyo anyway. So don't bother like I did, thinking that you needed a separate ticket. You do not. Just tap in, tap out, go as you normally would. But it does also bear reminding that if you are going to Disney Sea, add in that little extra bit of time to get there, because you need to then get on the monorail after you've already been on the public transport. So it takes a little bit extra, probably another like 10 or 15 minutes. So if you're looking to get there an hour before park open, just add that on as well. But yeah, I think that is all of my tips in general. I think if you follow all of these, you'll have an amazing time anyway. They're some of the best theme parks in the world, but hopefully if you use some of these tips, I think particularly around which passes to buy in which order and what time to eat, I think you'll have a really, really good time. I will cross my fingers for you and hope that the day that you visit is not as crazy busy as the days that I did, but at least you're prepared no matter what happens. And I know some people can't help but visit on a weekend. That's the only days that are left in your itinerary. You will still have a great time. Just set your expectations at a reasonable level about what you can and can't get done with food and with rides, and go for it. We definitely only prioritize rides that were completely unique to Tokyo Disney. You know, things like Toy Story Mania. I didn't bother because I'd been on that a month ago in California, you know, stuff like that. So I think that you can really put in the time beforehand and make it work for you. So if you have any other questions, I always reply to comments, so leave them below. If you want to see the videos, the vlogs from the days that we did Tokyo Disney and Tokyo Disney Sea, they are all on my channel, so please subscribe and go have a look at them. And please like this video if you found any of my tips useful. Have an amazing time. I'm so jealous. I want to go again. So yeah, thank you for watching. Bye.